everybody, I am Terry Cummings and I am with the Power of Peace Project. We would love for all of you to come out to the Brickyard, which is on January the 11th from 6 to 10. It is our big fundraiser for the year, and we're going to be roasting this guy in order to raise funds to help kids that are out on the streets, get them off the streets, and we really need your help. So come on out to the Brickyard, January the 11th from 6 to 10.
They're gonna make fun of me for a good cause. Invite your friends.
You're watching the Power of Peace podcast with Kit Cummings.
I'm Tony with the Pop Team, and I am Power of Peace.
What's up, everybody? Power of Peace podcast. No, don't even roll again, Mike. Power of Peace podcast. Liberty be liberty. No fluff. So here we are, another week. Faithful sidekick, soulmate, best friend, ride or die, Terry.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the
Cole.
podcast.
Brains of the operation.
That was a different intro. Soulmate, best person ever. Love her. Awesome. My son.
I'm not stupid.
It's just our son. That's it. Just our son.
I sleep in bed with her. Anyway, so
You better be. That's all I gotta say.
Rock star. This is off to an interesting start.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Say hey, Michael, the best producer in the biz.
Hey.
Yay.
And somebody just wandered off the street. Tony. What's up? Tony from the Pop Team. We don't get to see your mug, but very cool guy. So, blended families, step parents, step kids, jump in. It's like we're living in a world where I bet you it's, 60% of marriages end in divorce?
Yeah,
My grandparents,
that is what it is.
it was scandalous. Grandparents
Yes, yeah.
generation.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like you didn't do it. And if you did, oh my gosh. And then our parents, it really was more rare. But then, and if you did, you tend to stay together till your kids were out of school and college and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, our generation, it became more.
Well, it's divorce, 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 it seemed like.
And
in
then
our
now,
generation.
your generation is bag it. I didn't get married for, a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're more traumatized from divorce.
Yeah.
You're like, love, it's not a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
want me to get married and get divorced and
Yeah.
lose half of my bank account?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is my twin flame.
Don't.
a
That's a whole other
documentary.
thing. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't believe that's actually a thing, a
I
documentary.
know. We
Right?
digress.
Okay.
Okay, jumping in. I was thinking about today. So yeah, blended families. So let's just say we met. Okay, so 15-year marriage for myself.
We've been married longer than.
Bop.
Oh, okay.
My previous
Okay.
15 years.
You didn't have a previous marriage, though. I'm the only person they've really been married to.
And I was a virgin when I met you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So was I.
Really ridiculous. All right, 15
Okay.
years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My mom.
Hey, ADHD, just like
Yeah,
you're saying.
exactly.
All right, but anyway, yeah, a previous marriage and then a remarriage, and nobody goes into like, okay, I'm gonna have one, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go for I want some stepkids. It just life happens, storms come. People, I mean, it is what it is, and so now the majority, I think, of marriages are ending in divorce, prenups, whatever. So you're 9. I think, and your younger
So
sister.
my memory, I was 8, but it
8.
was probably 8 or because I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah, Cole was 8 when we met.
Okay.
Okay, he had not turned 9 yet. He was 9 when we got married,
Exactly.
but 8 and
8 and 5.
Yep,
yes,
That's what it was.
yeah,
Okay,
Exactly.
which blows my mind because
Yeah.
we've been together 18 years and then I mean it's close enough. I don't know, whatever it is. So certainly you're just a little dude and we're I think as tight. I mean, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, I remember, hard to even talk about, so probably won't talk about much. Going down into our little unfinished basement, sitting you down on the couch and trying to explain why Dad's got to go away.
Yeah.
And I was going to rehab.
Yeah.
And I said, will you be back? And I said, yes.
Yeah.
And then things happen when I'm in rehab, and then the split becomes permanent, and I break my promise.
Yeah.
And so that's a memory. Whew, that's a hard one if I focus much on it. So I mean, you're just a young guy, and all of a sudden, your world is rocked.
I mean, I think, so they say that's like, I think I read some stat that it's the most powerful age for a person's life if your parents get divorced when you're between like 8 and 12, I think is what they said. And it's because of what you just said is like, between that age, what's different from me and Lena is when you're 8 years old, you have a concept of kind of what's going on, right? You get old enough to know, like, I kind of like girls. And what does that turn into? Then you start thinking about your parents. Okay, they liked each other. They got married. They had kids, right? You can like conceptualize all of that. But you still don't really know how families or marriages work. You know, I'm 8 years old. I think that my parents are my parents and we're going to do this for the rest of time. That's just what's in my head.
Right.
So when that moment happened, you know, of course it's sad and we don't need to like dive into that. But it was really just like, I didn't know what was happening. You know, it was just like, here's a wild chaos card. I'm playing the wild chaos draw 4 card. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm getting two sides, you know, you're trying to explain, mom's trying to explain, none of it makes sense.
How can it?
You know, like, what's up, y'all? We're just not going to do this. You guys figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll hang out when we can,
Yeah.
you know, and that's just like, you know, for Lena, it was hard too, but Lena didn't even know, you know, she's 5. She doesn't know what, like,
Yeah.
She told me one time that she doesn't really have many memories of my first marriage, you know, of us being in the house together. Because first 5 years, I've got some memories, 3 or 4, but really, that's a big deal. I never thought about it from your stage. What were you going to say? Power Peace Project, we basically interrupt and redirect kids that are on a dangerous path. We want to keep kids in school, off the streets, out of the gangs, out of detention, so they can be in the free world where their dreams are and to grow old.
So my thing was different because I left my kid's dad or father, I should say, when my youngest was 4 months old and then my oldest was 2 years old. Yeah. So there was no sitting down with them and talking. It was more like, I gotta flee. I mean, that's really what it was. I've got to flee.
So they got no memories of that you went through, which we talked about, a couple weeks ago, just about the courage it took to get out of that. And then we've got, you know, what we were talking about, but let's do this. This will be fun. I'm at the lowest point of my life, okay? I'm in a little loft on Marietta Square, still trying to convince you that I have money, and I'm broke. And I'm like, still not letting you know that I'm a drunken fallen preacher. Kind of left that part out.
Flex.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying real hard to keep this good thing. And then we decided, okay, it's time to meet the kids. And so you come over, I think. You're with us every weekend, you and Lena, 8 and 5, whatever we decided.
It was the day after Thanksgiving.
That's
when it was. It was the day after Thanksgiving.
Which is funny.
And I brought stuff to make Christmas cookies with Lena. Y'all were watching football. And then, you know, I brought leftovers too from Thanksgiving. Yeah. And then so the following week when you had the kids, it was, Daddy, can you ask Miss Terry to come over so we can eat?
Well, I'm excited because I think they really like her a lot. They want her again. And it's like.
Well, here's what's funny, and I got to do it. But
I'm about to bash on you. That's what we do.
So, you know, during that period, you know, I still have love for my dad, but like, I'm weirded out by the situation. I'm not thinking about my pops being with another woman. You know, I'm like, well, but now they're single for the rest of their lives. You know, that's what my perspective is. So now I hear that, you know, I'm about to meet some new mom, and I'm like, screw that. Are you gonna meet me? LOL. No, I'm not gonna like this chick. So like, who is this? Yeah. Right? That's my. Yeah. You know, how old was
Little
I?
mind, 8, 9-year-old mind.
You were 8 at that, but then I brought food.
So that's what I was going to say. So, you know, whenever we go over to Dad's on the weekend, it's just assumed that we're probably eating a lean cuisine.
Or chunky soup. Those 2 things.
Soup or, you know, some cereal, like Honey Bunches of Oats. I love the cereal.
One of my best dishes. Yeah.
Right. One of my best dishes. So, you know, I'm going into it. All right, let's see what this is all about. I'm totally ready to just not talk to you and let you try to figure out how to break my maze of a brain, right? But then you bring out the food and I eat the food and I was like, this is some really good food. I was like, this has more flavor than any Thanksgiving food I've ever had. You know, my mom does not be making Thanksgiving food. So now I'm like considering, okay, maybe she has some value. You know, I could start eating this food every weekend. Maybe maybe there's some advantage here. But yeah, I think I always laugh at that.
And then the sleeping arrangements. So,
that was hilarious. That was
hardwood floors, 1 bedroom, open loft, no doors. I don't think, not a door in the
0
place,
doors.
right?
Yeah.
And tiny little place, but I guess it could have been cool if I was cool at the time, but I wasn't at all. And so no bed for the kids. So what do? I get an air mattress. All right, we're gonna put it in the little foyer when you walk in. It's so small. And so you want to talk about broke? Okay, it got a pinhole in it. I don't know how it got punctured, but it did. And so this went on. I mean, I don't know how much air mattress cost.
Like $20.
I'm embarrassing myself because why not?
Rather.
So anyway, I'd tuck them into bed at night, you know, and they would
You
go.
tuck them in the
and
air
they would-
mattress at
in
night.
the air mattress, and they'd
Bed.
be nice. And then in the morning, they would be crumpled into a pile in the middle because almost all the air had come out. And I'd come on, get on up, and I don't know why. I don't know. I could have panhandled.
Layla's on
For
top
a-
of me. Like my shoulders on like concrete.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway.
But you know what's funny is I'll listen to rap songs and they're like, I grew up sleeping on the floor, and I'm like,
Me too, dog. Hard. Mean streets of Marietta. Yeah. Okay, so this wasn't part of the deal. Okay,
No,
we meet
no.
and I Don Juan you and then finally start kind of maybe getting a little more honest about who I am and who I'm not and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden, you've raised kids, they're out. You're out there single for a
they're
decade.
out. My kids were grown and out. I mean, my oldest was in the Marine Corps already. My
You got
youngest
your
was out
career.
of the house. I was
Cool.
making a 6-figure income as a real estate agent. I could come and go as I pleased. You know, I traveled when I wanted to. And all of a sudden, I've got these kids that, you know, I love kids. I mean, I've always loved kids. But then I'm responsible for these kids too now, and I'm like, I'm not so sure I'm liking this, you know, and because it was every weekend. It wasn't like every other weekend.
Could do that.
It was
this is the time.
yeah.
Yeah, so I do want to talk about the difference. So, you know, obviously you both come in with 2 new stepkids.
Yeah.
I like that you just talked about the age thing because we're young, we're kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Hers are 23 and
9
22
and 6,
at the time.
10 and 7, we're little kids. But yeah, yours are in your 20s. So
20,
that's
23,
a completely
22.
different meeting stepkids experience.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll ask you, what was it like when you met her stepkids?
It's very interesting because I was in a very insecure place in my life. A lot of shame, failure, humiliation, you know, kind of a public fall from grace. Now all of a sudden I find life. You know, I always wanted to be at Terry's house. I was wasting money even renting that place over there because I just started being there all the time.
You weren't going
right?
to be there without a ring on it.
Yeah, well, there you go. We should write a song about that. Oh, wait,
There is one.
So anyway, and I meet these 2, you know, 22, 23, and I guess I'm trying to kind of win them, impress them. But the interesting thing is Luna was more private, and I had to work introverted, and I did my best to kind of try to win her, and but that was a little more challenging because I'm in a weird place, and just it's a personality difference, right? And so it was me trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? And they've been down this rodeo before, and now all of a sudden I'm the new guy that's showing up. But then Justin, I think, is a little more. Luna wasn't in the house a lot of the time when Justin was. He was in between tours, and we became kind of like party buddies and drinking buddies.
Yeah, y'all were wine drinking buddies for sure.
Until I quit, and which was less than a year later. But it established this foundation.
That was easier,
Yeah. And then, you know, it's been almost 20 years, and so we've come a long way with Justin and Luna. But
So how about you though? What was the experience like knowing that you were about to meet young kids that just went through a divorce?
I mean, when your dad and I started dating, I did not want to meet y'all because I knew I would, become attached.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I didn't want to become attached to you guys without a ring on it, truly. And I didn't want y'all to become attached to me and go through, dad's not
thoughtful.
with another woman, So we waited 6 months before I even met the two of you. And like I said, I always love kids. I always have. I went into it with open eyes and with a loving heart and all that. And my love for y'all grew. It wasn't difficult for my love for y'all to grow. What was difficult was trying to get y'all to like me, And I'm the kind of person that you either like me or you don't kind of person, Yeah. But for wanting, now it was easier with you, much easier with you. I think we have a close relationship, and it's harder for a woman and a girl. I mean, my relationship with my mother. I mean, I just think that's for whatever reason, it's harder for a mother and a daughter. Yeah. It's very complicated, no matter how old you are,
Totally.
But the more I fed y'all, the more y'all liked me.
But because it was easier, I mean, on the weekends, we're watching sports. We're outside, playing ball, and we're doing things, and then you and Lena are doing more little girly things. I didn't do a good job with that because it was, that affected Lena a lot, kind of felt left out. And, that was, I look back on it now, it's either hindsight, 2020, boy, here's what I would do. But it was, you do the best you can in a situation that you've never taken a course on. Nobody's ever taught you how to do it.
Well, and the truth of the matter is, really, that was also one of the things that made it difficult for me and Lena because I'm not a girly girl. I never have been a girly girl. I'm more of a tomboy.
You kind of wanted to watch the game.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to drink my beer and watch football. But Lena didn't. So Lena, it's really funny because Lena is not a prissy little girl now. She's completely different,
Well,
but
she was
when
then,
she
though.
was prissy, I mean,
Everything had to be done right.
oh, her
So you
hair had
you
to
a
be
little
done
girl.
just right.
Yeah.
Her fingernails had to be painted, and I'm like, I don't even paint my fingernails. What's going on with that? And here's a funny story. So when your dad asked me to marry him, I said, well, have you asked my kids? And he's like, no. And I said, well, you need to ask my kids, And I
did.
So he did. But and I wanted Lena, obviously, to be in the wedding. I wanted her to be, so her and I went dress shopping, and I had not even bought my dress yet. And the dresses that she was picking out to wear were like $400 and $500. I'm like,
she had good taste.
I'm like, yes, she had amazing taste. I'm like, this isn't happening.
She's 6.
She's 6. I want a $500 dress. Yeah, exactly.
Now,
but she's not like that anymore at all.
So kind of shifting gears. One of the challenges with divorce and remarriage, or two single parents, whatever, is the information flow. And everybody goes into a marriage saying, no, we're going to have a great relationship, we're going to co-parent, the right thing to say. And then life happens, and no divorce is easy. No divorce is nice and clean and easy, and we're just best friends. I mean, some people are like, man, I'm best friends. And I'm like, God bless you, man. I didn't figure it out. And I look at my faults in that. But anyway, with a lack of information on, you came home today.
You just mean life.
Yeah, life happens.
Lack of information on your kids' lives.
That's it.
Is what you're talking about.
So you come home and you've had a bad day. I don't know that.
Yeah.
Lena's going through,
and mom's not going to tell you that, is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I get, suspended from school.
Yeah.
If I don't tell you,
then I don't know.
And mom doesn't choose to tell you.
Yeah.
High school, it's amazing.
Yeah, because here's the thing, and I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, helping their kids. People call me with, kids are in trouble. And I say that is Cole and Lena, they made straight A's. You don't really think hey, they're making A's. I'm talking about A's. And until you both cause a little bit of trouble, it's like you're not causing trouble. I'm not getting calls. I'm not going to the thing. But I don't know the day in, day out of how are they feeling? What are they struggling with? He was angry tonight. Why is that? She looks depressed. What's happening? Is there drug and alcohol use? I didn't see the red, blurry eyes at the end of the day. Yeah. And to my fault again, I wasn't sharing everything that I felt with them with you. I was kind of, I don't know what I was doing, trying to protect. It was a weird time. I'm trying to build a new relationship. I failed miserably at the first one. I'm trying to make sure that you guys like each other. So I'm kind of just.
Well, you're like guarding the positivity.
There it is.
Right? You're
That's
like
what I'm trying
keeping
to say.
everything in line because conflict and like dealing with the tough stuff is tough. So it's like, I feel that. Like, you don't want to take this burden that's technically your life and bring it into your new relationship with your own
complicated.
kids.
But the funny thing, though, about that is that it makes it worse.
Totally.
I mean, it was so much worse not knowing what was, no one telling me what was going on, or, you're picking up Lena and you're having to take her to the emergency room because she's got, tonsillitis or strep throat. Nobody's telling me what kind of medicine to give her, nothing, right? Or the same thing with you. You've hurt your leg. Nobody's telling me. Nobody's telling me, that you've got a basketball game or that Lena, so there was no flow of information the way that there should have been, which made our relationship worse. Yeah. Okay,
and not just coming from her, but from me to you too.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
From you to me too. I mean, it should have been from your mom to you, from you to me, because that's the whole circle, right?
It's a whole web because, I'm involved too.
Right.
And here's one thing that, let's get to the meaty stuff.
Do it.
But I think one of the most challenging things growing up for me, and has been kind of a thorn in my side for trust. Like, if I could say one of the biggest trust issues I have is not from divorce.
Yeah.
It's not from like backstabbing and stuff. That came later. But what it was for me was I would hear two completely opposite sides of the same story.
Yeah.
So who do you believe, your dad or your mom?
Yeah.
Because they're both telling you that the other one's wrong. Mm-hmm. So when I hear that enough times, all it took was 2 to 3 times for me to be like, guess what? I don't play this game. Y'all figure it out, and y'all don't talk. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't know what to believe. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what your side of the story is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna live my life. I'm a kid.
Yeah. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted that full circle of communication because I wanted the best for y'all, and also because I didn't have that full circle of communication, you get into the area of discipline, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there were ways that I felt that you and Lena should have been disciplined. Yep. Things that y'all should have been taught. You take your plate to the, you help clean up and, all those things. So that created a resentment, but not resentment towards you and Lena, but resentment towards your dad.
Understandably.
And
it was, I've done a lot of work over all these years on shame. Yeah. And there's volumes of information out there, but shame is so destructive because it goes to your identity. It's not like, man, I'm guilty about some of the choices I made. That's not bad. It's like that can change you. Guilt can lead you to not doing things anymore. Shame is, I'm not feeling bad about what I did. I'm feeling bad about who I am. Mm-hmm. And at that time in my life, I was so hurt over what I had done to screw everybody up that I was trying to manage everybody well, you know what I'm saying, including your mom, and try to figure out, okay, how do we do this? And so I'm protecting things, it doesn't work. Shame-based parenting made me more of I just want to be the dad that they have a good time with. I want them to love me and like me. I want them to accept, my new wife. And so I was too easy. You know what I'm saying? I remember, and I say things that just kind of embarrass me a little bit, but it is what it is. Hopefully somebody out there is like, damn, I'm doing that too. I can remember it like this. You were sitting at the bar, you and Lena. I'm cleaning the kitchen like I always did. And then I'm like, hey, y'all mind doing this? And you said this as a freaking 12-year-old or 14 maybe, something like that. It's like, Dad, you're the dad. Like, tell us what the freak to do. You did that. And it
Dang.
yeah, and I was just like, oh man, I'm crushed. I ain't doing anything good. You know what I'm saying? It was hard, but it was necessary for me to go through. And luckily, you guys both turned out awesome, but I didn't make it easy.
Well, you know, for me, it was different in a lot of ways because you didn't know who you were, right? And I did know who I was. I had been by myself for a long time, and I was perfectly capable of running a household, of making my money, you know, of raising kids and all that. I'd done that, and being by myself for a long time allowed me to really know who I was. You know,
Which I dug about you. That's what drew me to you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, I do want to speak to, just because I can relate to to it so much, and I feel like a lot of people can, but that insecurity is this waterfall of like destruction. Because when you don't believe in yourself or don't have any confidence in the decisions that you're making, and I think that's the biggest part, is you second guess every decision you're making.
Totally.
So you don't go with your gut. You don't think about things logically. You start to go the route of what's going to be the easiest way. You know, I'm anxious today. I feel insecure. The easiest way is for me to lay down on this couch and watch a movie instead of going to this birthday party that I told everyone I was going to go to. And what does that turn into? Like lack of trust, lack of you know? So it's like, if you're too insecure to deal with the conflict, then one, you're never growing.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that you and my mom are actually really similar, is because you were single with 2 kids for a long time and you had to figure your stuff out. No one was helping you. You know, you learn who you are when you have to solve all your own problems. Right? And same with Mom. It's like we grew up together, but I got to see the stress that, you know, she had to deal with having 2 kids and not knowing what to do and working a job, you know, not having enough money to buy food sometimes, you know, like, but that is what's so weird about this whole like discipline versus like friend thing is, you know, there were long periods of time I didn't like Mom. She pissed me off. She was my probation officer at home. You know, it's Saturday morning, she's vacuuming at 8 a.m. in my room so that I wake up and clean the bathroom. You know, that was more of our relationship. So I think that's one of the reasons why we would come over and, you know, it wasn't until you started to get on us. Hey, guess what? I just cooked you dinner for 4 hours. Why aren't you cleaning the kitchen? You know, it's those thoughts where I'm like,
And I'm running around, I'll get it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which was
the
completely.
fun dad will do all the stuff because we're on vacation this weekend.
Which
Yeah.
takes, say that and then I'll
No,
flow
because
on that.
and I brought my kids up differently. I mean, by the time they were 8 years old, they were cleaning the kitchen after I cooked.
Yeah.
You know, it was just instilled in them. Whether they do it now, no, I'm kidding. But you know, I always felt like you have to, especially for a single parent, you've got to instill that discipline in them. And like for me, because their father wasn't in the picture at all. I mean, you and Lena had your dad.
Absolutely.
He may not have been there physically every
No,
day,
but we
but
had
y'all
relationships
talked
with-
every
yeah.
single day. And your dad would come over there to take Lena to the dentist and go to your
Absolutely.
basketball game and all that. So Justin and Luna's father was not involved at all. So
Yeah.
I was the father and the mother
Yeah, totally.
and the friend and the, you know,
Yeah.
the everything. So I really had to instill those
Yeah.
disciplines in them.
And you did. So information flow, shame-based parenting, trying to be the, you know, the great dad on the weekend. From your side, that made it easier for you to play both sides, maybe pit us against one another, maybe share this with that, not with that. And then on top of that, we're living in a day and age where it's like, shoot, if I'm too hard on them, they might hurt themselves. And parents are dealing with that today. It's like a kid's like, we're in a place where we're scared to death. And it's like, man, if I come down hard, I might get a phone call, worst day of my life. And so, I don't know, kind of speak to that.
I mean, I want to speak to the latter half first because I think it's more important.
Okay.
But, geez, like we live in such a fragile world. It makes me angry. You know, I'm a hot-headed dude. I'm passionate about things. I like kicking my own ass and I like the hardship, you know? So I feel like I'm much more rub some dirt on it, especially in this world. I get in trouble for not being thoughtful enough or being too aggressive. You know, like anytime I'm passionate, it's you're being aggressive. You might hurt, you know. I'm always walking on eggshells, everyone is. But I think as a parent, like you just said, it's not easy because these kids grow up and they're really smart. They have access to the internet from day one, so they actually know way more than you did when you were that age.
Yeah.
And so one thing they know, which I'm not, you know, shaming or calling anybody out, it's just a reality, is like you said, it's easy to play the victim card.
Play it.
See,
you're gonna punish me because I got suspended or I got caught smoking weed? I'm depressed and I might do something about it. How about you take me shopping?
Yeah.
Right? How about you let me play my video games
Yeah.
that you grounded me from?
Yeah.
Or like you said, or I might do something crazy.
It's so funny because I couldn't be a parent in today's world. I don't think I could because
Well,
there
you
are
are.
things but I mean with little ones, bringing somebody up all the way from the
We'd get canceled.
because I'd get canceled. I'd get in so much trouble because let me tell you, I've probably told you this story. But my kids were in middle school, and only 15 months apart, right? And I get a call at work from Luna's teacher saying that, is she okay? She's not in class today. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, she's not in class today. And I'm like, okay, can you check and see if Justin, my oldest, is in class? And she goes, yeah, he's not here either. And then I'm like, okay, they're skipping school. Yeah. So I called my next door neighbor, Tammy, and I said, can you go next door and see if the kids are there? And she goes, sure. She knocks on the door and she hears Luna and Justin and Michael, which was the neighbor boy a few streets over, saying, don't open the door, don't open the door. So Tammy tells me that they're there, and I'm like, okay, all right. So how am I going to deal with this, right? Yeah. And what I did, we lived in Powder Springs at the time. What I did is I called the city jail. I called the Powder Springs City Jail. And I said, hey, my kids are skipping school today. I want to teach them a lesson, not to skip school anymore. Can I bring them down to the jail and y'all scare the hell out of them? They said, yeah, we can do that. And I said, okay. So I pulled up in the driveway. I pulled up in the driveway, hung in the horn. They run out there. They know at this point that I know, because Tammy says, your mom knows now. And so I'm like, get in the car. We got to go down the Powder Springs jail. Why? Why do we have to do that? Because this is truancy. It's against the law for y'all to skip school. Y'all know they could really take y'all away from me, right? They could do that. So we got to go. So I pull in Powder Springs, jailhouse, and they get in there, and they're talking to him, and there's a guy in jail going, y'all need to stay in school. Make sure you stay in school, or you're going to end up here.
He's behind the bar.
You got scared straight going. And then
so those are the kinds of things that I did as a parent because. Yeah. So I would get canceled out big time today.
Then she's married to me, and I'm like, y'all aren't in school? Want to go to a movie? It's like you got, go to the pokey, go to a movie.
That's what's funny about this, because going back to playing both sides, if I didn't want to tell you something, you didn't have to know. Like the school would call. I changed my parent guardian contact info to my phone. So no one got the calls. I literally went into the office. Hey, I think I lost my emergency contact or something. Can I fill that out? How I work.
The worm.
Pretty easy.
The worm.
So just a great example of something that like I didn't tell you that you didn't have to know about.
Yeah.
Senior year.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, shout out to Justin and Luna for skipping. So, I mean, I made straight A's. I was really cool with all my teachers. You know, I was great at making teachers love me. So I would cut deals with my teachers at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I'm a rat one out. Miss Pruitt, love her, amazing woman. But she was after my like 5th period lunch, which is close to the end of the day. So I only had 2 classes after that. One was like PE, the other was her class, right? So I nail my first 2 tests, and I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna make a deal. So I walk up to her after class. She loves me, and I'm like, all right, listen, I have lunch the period before this. I usually skip during lunch. Like, I literally come back here to be a part of your class, but I don't want to. Like, I can read all of this material. You know, clearly I'm smart enough for these tests. I'm gonna take the AP exam. I'll get a 5. This will help your reputation as a teacher.
He's selling it.
You know? Right? I say, are you cool with me not coming sometimes? I'll always be here for any quiz, any test. She's like, we do have pop quizzes. I'm like, I'll be here for them. She's like, okay, yeah. I don't know what you do in your free time, right? So I would leave every single day at 5th period, right? Lunchtime, I'm out. Take whatever buddies want to go smoke. I'm gone. You know, I'm at home at like 12:30, skipping school, smoking with my friends, right? So one day, sure enough, you play the game long enough, the game's gonna win, right?
Game always wins.
I'm leaving the senior lot, and I see one of the football coaches standing at the block, and I'm like, oh crap. Like, he's gonna ask me for my pass, and I have a fake one. But it's one of the coaches that I like. So I'm like, honestly, he'll probably be chill about it. So I'm like, what's up, coach? He's like, what's up, man? Where you going? I'm like, the doctor, right? You know, like, I don't have an excuse loaded for that. He's like, you got a pass? I'm like, yeah. He's like, bro, this is fake. I'm like, yeah, like, what's up? You know? He's like, I'm gonna need you to park, and I'm gonna take you to Siegfried. And I was like,
Siegfried.
what?
I remember Siegfried.
Yeah. I said, wait, actually, like, I thought he was joking. My guy. He's like, nah, I need you to, like, back up, go park. I was like, what is happening? Like, he must have been having a bad day, right? So he'd take me to the vice principal. He was like he was cracking down. He loved his job, ruining kids' days.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, literally. So I go into his office, and he's like, why skipping? Well, I don't want to be here. Therefore, I leave. He's like, well, let's look up your attendance record. And I'm like, I know that they track attendance for every class. So he turns over on his rolly chair and like looks it up. And he looks back at me and he goes, you've missed 120 days
Whoa.
of class over the past 2 years. Like,
did you know that?
Like full days.
Oh, of course not.
You know,
Yeah.
I didn't go to
This
a
is
full
fresh.
day of school. Yeah, a whole full day of school. I at least missed one class.
Every day.
120 days. Which is like half the semester for 2 years in a row. And it was right at the beginning of this year, my senior year. He said, you have restricted lunch for the rest of the year. Which meant that there was no skipping lunch. I had to go and sit in a room that was silent and do work for an hour. And I had to do that for the rest of the school year. So it sucked. But I say all that to say, you didn't know about that.
No.
I didn't have to tell you that I got restricted lunch or I got like in trouble. None of it.
You should spank them now. Like,
You're restricted. You cannot do anything for the next 120 days.
It's called restorative justice. That's it.
See, and that's really funny. I always had my thumb down on the kids. Like, you know, one day I walk in the garage and I see this bat in Justin's car. And I'm like, I know what he's doing with that bat.
Not a little bat, big bat.
You know, it's a baseball bat. I know what he's doing with that bat. I know because I did it, right? I mean, I didn't do it myself, but I was in the car with guys doing it, you know.
Yeah,
And so
he's
I
not
walk
playing
back in.
baseball.
I walk back in. I'm like, hey, what are you doing with that bat in your car? No. We went and threw some balls. No, you didn't. I know what you're doing with that bat.
Yeah,
You're
it's like a
restricted.
ski
Get that
mask
daggone
next
bat.
to it.
Right, exactly. You know. So that's why I think that God, I did the things that I did when I was a kid that were not good,
Yeah.
that I didn't want my kids doing, but I
learned
knew
it.
I had that instinct, you know, with what was going on.
And, you know, nature nurture is like you're sitting there telling that story, and I'm like, well, I mean, you come by it honest. It's like, you know, learning to work the system,
Yeah.
charming, which is, you know, manipulative. That was my whole thing. I you know, work with kids all the time, and it's like you got the rebels, like the world try to stop me, and then you got the ones that kind of fly under the radar.
Play the game.
And that was me. I mastered the game, which really hurt me in my later years because I skated out of trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, so many times because I was good at it. And then, you know, you reap what you sow.
He didn't figure out that he wasn't such a good guy until not too long ago.
I know.
You
I
know,
was-
'cause I mean,
apparently-
they broke into the school and turned
Apparently.
everything upside
Yeah,
down and
that's a
like put
great
it on the
prank.
ceiling
That's a
and
good
stuff, you
senior
know.
prank.
It was
yeah.
unbelievable.
That's a good
So-
Walton High School. But, you know, we live in a different day and age because we literally, it was all the jocks, you know, football, basketball, and everything. And, you know, we got up, we left the window open during the school, and then we met at midnight in the right spot, and we walked a long way to Walton. We had this whole thing. And then we we get into the school, and it was a pod, it was like big, long wings and pods, and we took literally every chair in the whole building. We brought them to the middle and stacked them to the ceiling until they were like that. And then we chained all the doors locked, and then
See,
we
that-
left out the window.
That makes me sad because like you couldn't do that these days.
That's what
Right,
I'm saying.
right,
You know what
right,
my
right,
punch?
right.
So the next day,
Can't do that.
so they don't get to have school the next day because the
Yeah.
doors are all locked from the inside. And so anyway, that next time they start calling Mark McWhorter, come to the Mike Travis, come to the Kit Cummings, and we're going, somebody drop time. And so we go to the principal, and he's just like, really? I mean, come on, fellas. We had to pick up trash for the rest of the day around the school, and we didn't even do that. We went to the dumpster and put all the trash in and then just kind of chilled. That was our punishment. What would happen today?
Yeah, you'd be like kicked out
Charges.
of the county.
We got
Yeah,
kids in
yeah.
juvenile
Yeah.
court who did the same thing, and they're under felony
Yeah.
supervision.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It is. It is. It's to the point to where you can't let a kid be a kid. I mean, there's certain things that kids are just gonna do. I mean, it just is. You know, there's so many things that my kids did that I laughed at behind their back. I didn't, you know, they'd get in trouble and all that in front of me. I disciplined them. And then they'd go away, and I'd go in the bathroom and just laugh. You know, I mean, because you know, I mean, and then there's funny things that. So Justin, he decided, you know, senior year he was going to quit school. Okay, all right, good, fine. Quit school. Fine. Okay,
Figure it
good.
out.
The next morning, I go in there, you know, like pull the covers off of it. What are you doing? I quit school. I don't have to go. I'm like, oh, I know you don't have to go to school. But here's what you're going to do today. You're going to get up and you're going to dig a ditch all the way around the house that's about 2 feet deep. And you're going to start applying all the termite liquid around the house. That's what you're going to do today.
You're
What?
gonna build a
Yeah,
moat.
that's what you're going to
A
do today.
moat.
You don't want to go to school? Fine.
How many days
This is
did it
what you're
take?
going to do.
How many days did it take?
It took him a day.
And then he's back in school?
Yeah, back in school.
You said,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
That's hysterical.
So, but
it
I
works.
think parents are scared to do
They
those
are.
kinds of things today.
They are.
Right? You know, but there's certain things that it's a different way of getting your kids' attention. Because with Justin, him being on restriction, that never worked.
Yeah,
I mean, he
exactly.
could have
You
cared
wanna be on
less, right?
restriction.
Yeah, he didn't care.
Do you have I've got a question, advice,
Hit me.
but you've also got some cool
I'm
things
just,
too.
I got, you know, I'm good at this.
You're good?
I got things loaded up.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Right, we-
go for it.
Okay, so you go first.
No.
Okay,
I got
so
a whole
yesterday
game
I
for
get a wonderful people, known for a long time. They have 2 sons, and they happen to be twins. And they're good kids, right? And a lot of good question asking, kind of getting a good feel. But it's what kids are doing nowadays. It's the weed situation. And then it's the little, shoplifting here and there, starting to get in a little bit of trouble, whatever. And so they're like, what do we do? And so give some advice to a parent about a 17-year-old that is getting into, it's not like, dangerous, but it can be, But I mean, how do you handle a kid that was doing like what you are?
Yeah, so
Were.
this is advice for like the average kids that's doing this. Like
Yeah.
you said, it could get dangerous.
Yeah, but it isn't.
I grew up in Gwinnett and like people were getting shot over a drug deal that
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? I thought that only happened. It could
Yeah.
happen. So
Sure.
but disregard that.
Right.
That's the like 1 to 2%.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would say if they're 17 in high school, it's actually more effective to go ahead and get in trouble when you're young. So I think about myself, y'all didn't know that I smoked weed until I got arrested. I mean, you knew, but that was like a month before I got arrested with weed in my car. My mom didn't know that I smoked until the cops called her and told her that I got arrested for weed.
At
She had no
17,
clue.
maybe?
17 was
Okay.
how old I
You're at
was.
Gwinnett County Jail, no joke.
Exactly. But I say that to say that course corrected my life. As I'm on probation, I thought about, my friends are dumbasses. Are they going to go to college? Half of them are dropped out of high school. These are the kids that I'm hanging out with. I got screwed. I saved all their asses. I didn't rat on 10 people that
You
were
didn't.
with me.
You
I
took
took
it.
all the blame.
Yeah, you took
Right? But it was that moment where I'm like, what am I thinking about my life? What am I doing? So I say that to say it's good to get in trouble and try all the dumb stuff when you're in high school because it's not going to affect the rest of your life. When I got to college, I knew how dumb I could be, right? I had more awareness of what to do partying. Oh, I shouldn't take those drugs. Those drugs hurt people. Those drugs kill people. I don't want your random ecstasy pill, right? I don't know what that is. I have more awareness of those things.
Yeah.
But my biggest advice is like, you're not going to have a 1%er kid that doesn't try weed in high school. Like, I feel like that was like the girls that didn't sleep with a guy until 25 and they got married in Greece because their dad is the owner and CEO of Coca-Cola. Like those are the kids that don't try the weed. They still try the weed. I thought it was funny when you're like, the high school quarterback smokes all the time with his friends.
Yeah.
Right? I think this whole like, weed is definitely a gateway drug, but like, it's because people are curious.
Yeah.
It's not the drugs. We're curious. When you try something that affects the way you feel, it's awesome. It's new. You want more of it. So it's not the end of the world if your kid is smoking weed.
Yeah.
Sure, should you punish them? Is it like more of a principle thing? Like we told you not to do it and you're sneaking around? I think that's super disciplinable.
Disciplinable.
I don't know if that's a word, but it is. Feel free to discipline. Because the parents that didn't, I got friends who their parents were cool as hell in high school, but those kids work at Arby's right now, still in Swanee.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is no shot at working at Arby's.
Yeah.
But, they never went back to school. They're calling me now like, hey, bro, how can I stop being a valet? Like, what should I do? Those are questions. So, my advice is like, just have more trust and faith in your kids. It takes time to grow up. It's not the end of the world.
Don't be a hypocrite. I mean,
be a hypocrite.
don't be a hypocrite. Okay, so I think for my generation, honestly, I can't name a single person that I grew up with in high school that didn't smoke weed. I mean, I can't name a single person. And then you
And that
get
was your
away
generation
from
when it wasn't even accessible.
Oh, are you
Now
kidding
it
me?
can be.
What's
Accessible? Oh my
decriminalized,
gosh!
that's
At
what
Warner
I'm
Robins, it was so accessible. I mean, anything. Quaaludes, okay?
Yeah,
I mean,
anything.
anything. Acid, anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know a single person that I went to high school with that did not smoke weed, including football players and
Yeah,
cheerleaders
anybody.
and the debutantes. So don't be a hypocrite with your kid. That I think when you are being a hypocrite with your kid sees right through that, and it's
Absolutely.
like, why should I listen to you, right? So you got to think of a different way, something unique, unique things.
That was the talk yesterday. And a quick disclaimer, we teach teens not to smoke weed.
Yes. We're just saying, don't be hypocrites.
Promise. It's an underdeveloped brain. We've got Tony, the expert, pop team who teaches, court-mandated drug and alcohol. We're going to hear from you in a second. But anyway, I want parents that are watching.
Light that joint now?
But anyway, it's like we do not. One of the dream killers we talk about is drug and alcohol abuse and where it can take you. And I'm the master chief knucklehead. But anyway, without going into the long, detailed conversation, and this couple's awesome and their kids are awesome, I said, here are some of the things that are working with us in the courts and the juvenile detention is, one, incentive is much more powerful than punishment, although you've got to have boundaries, consequences, very important. Incentive is left out a lot of times. Agreements are more powerful than rules. You've got to get the other person involved. The rule is like, man, you're going to tell me what to do. Yeah. But if we have an agreement on, okay, here's what happens. This happens, here's the consequence, da-da-da-da-da. Restorative justice is huge. And then I tell them what we do in the juvenile courts. First offense, you got to write a thinking report. I want to hear the trail of thought from, I think I'll get high, all the way to when you inhale, what was going on in your mind, because you're under a felony and this is going to get you more jammed up with the judge. So I want to hear you.
Explain it.
And then second offense is, all right, I need you to write me a report on cannabis use and how it affects the teenage brain. And I want you to do a presentation in front of the court. All right, now we're going to try to get a little information in them. And then third offense, all right, Joker, we're putting an ankle monitor on you and you're going to sit down for 21 days, house arrest. And so I kind of showed him how it's graduated consequences with a freaking plan, like you want them to learn from it. And I said, and the biggest thing, and they knew this, was the lying. Okay, if you want to go to the line
for that.
And talk about the why, not just the what.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, we told you not to do something. You snuck around. That's what the conversation
your choice.
should be. Yeah. Unless they don't have a job and they're doing nothing with their life.
Well,
I think it's probably the weed that kills their motivation.
Kills their motivation, dreams. True.
I think one of the things that was powerful for me, especially being a single parent, was my house was the house everybody came to. Yeah. I mean, everybody came to.
She was never there till 8.
Well, no, I was there. I was present. So, but our house was always the house. I welcomed all the kids coming in. There were kids coming in from high school that were thinking, that their sexual gender, what they wanted to be, and parents were kicking them out at, the age of 16, but they were coming to me, telling me, and so I always wanted that kind of relationship where it was open enough to where they could come to me and tell me, or they came to me when they were getting in trouble, or they knew that they did something. Yeah. And it wasn't that there weren't consequences, because there were consequences, but it was a open communication household, right? And I could see what they were doing,
and who
they were hanging with.
I didn't know.
They were more open to sharing their life with you, which made it easier to deal with these things and handle things.
Exactly.
Like if you don't have that relationship with your kids, like you said, an agreement. You chose to tell me this. Yeah. So there is reward in that. Yeah. I appreciate you sharing this. You didn't have to.
Yeah. Right.
Right? As opposed to, I'm too scared to talk to my parents about it. They were going to kill me for this, so I'm not going to tell them.
So I'll hide it.
And that's why it's always the cops that call your parents when they figure it out.
That's it.
Right? So I think that's the best conclusion.
So you go where you want to go before we wrap, and then I'm going to ask, Tony gets to ask the last question.
Okay. So I wanted to play a game. I think I love how vulnerable and honest we get, but we're funny too. Let's have some fun.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Enough teaching and learning, right? Yeah. The therapy session is over. So I wanted to play a game that's I call it Pick a Family Member.
Okay.
I'm going to ask some questions, and then I want you guys to both give an answer. Okay? I'll give my answers too.
Okay.
But we're going to have to pick a family member for the certain situation.
Now, do we leave? Do we can't go to the obvious one like her?
You can.
Okay, gotcha.
Anybody in our family is available.
Okay, fair enough.
For the answer. All right, so who is the family member that you would choose to take with you on a deserted island? You can only pick one.
Okay. So, I am going to have to say Justin. And
Natural.
I mean there's reasons for that. It's there's reasons for that. But if we're on a deserted island,
Yeah.
right?
He's a combat veteran.
He's a combat veteran. He's gonna kill things, and he's gonna scrounge for food, and he's gonna
Forage.
he is. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, he's the best one to take.
Now, right. That doesn't mean.
You don't get to. Oh,
Yeah.
that's your
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
You don't get to
Your one's
Okay.
the same answer.
Yeah.
But that mine is Justin.
No.
So I'm agreeing with you.
And you got to go with the first one. You can't
Okay,
think
yeah,
it through
Right,
when
right.
the other one's answering.
Right.
But the reason it would be you is because you manage me all the time.
Yeah.
It's like with my
And you
fascinating
can't have,
brain,
intimacy with Justin.
can't
No,
have
I
instincts,
can't.
Justin. That's going to be an issue on a desert
But I
island.
just want to survive.
Just saying. It's probably going to be.
Right? Easier to cuddle when
Yeah,
it's
you
cold.
picked Justin because you know I'm not even the Home Depot guy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I know.
It's like,
I
but and I don't say this just because I'm getting brownie points, but I really believe I'm lost without you. So I'd just be on the island and be like, I got nobody to talk to.
Yeah. Well, that's
And
perfect
Justin don't
segue.
want to talk like that all the time.
That's
so.
the perfect segue though. The next one was be the worst person to take on.
Everybody's gonna
the
pick me.
worst
picking Dan.
person to take on a deserted island.
Wait, how do I break the coconut open?
Michael, I'm getting depressed. I need some time.
Oh,
Okay, I just have to admit, I can't, I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad at you.
All right. So next one. I like this debate question.
Okay.
All right, who would win in a fight? Me and Lena versus Justin and Luna.
In a debate?
No, in a fight. To
in
the
a
death.
fight? Okay.
Yeah, a physical fight to the death.
Wait a minute. Are you and Lena are fighting each other?
No, me and Lena as a pair versus Justin and Luna as a pair.
Oh, if you're fighting Justin and Luna?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-on-2.
2-on-2, 2v2.
Oh, holy crap.
Change the whole
good one
thing.
there.
It's
That's a great question. Golly, I mean,
It's hard.
And we got the new
'cause
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
that's right. That's right. And
adds a
Lena
little
is
something.
scrappy.
That's what I was
not,
saying.
Lena is scrappy.
Because I feel like Justin.
Justin would just shoot ya.
Facts. If there's weapons, it's done immediately.
Done. Short
Just
fight.
Just teasing.
But Justin, Justin's strong. I feel like we would have a good fight. I feel like Justin might win. It'd be close though.
Yeah,
Well, you
it's gonna
know-
be good because
It'd be
you got
close.
no quit and you're
would
not
be
afraid
so
of pain.
Close.
Yeah.
It would be so close, and I've never ever
I
seen
think-
Luna fight
I think Lena and
ever.
Luna would be a scrap.
Oh my gosh,
That would be the best
yeah,
part.
that would be because Luna's so much bigger than
Yeah.
Lena too. So I mean that'd be
split decision.
Yeah.
Split
Going
decision.
Justin.
I'm gonna tell this one quick because it's
yeah,
freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm early on in the relationship. I'm still drinking. We're sitting at our bar, at our house. Justin's there. We're so cool. He's waiting on us to get home every day because we're going to drink wine all night and tell stories, have fun. So we're sitting at the bar, side by side, and Justin's right here, kind of just, and we're just talking and talking and talking. And I think I've probably had a little too much. And so they're trying to get old Blabbermouth to shut up for a minute. And so he comes around and jokingly kind of gets me in a rear naked choke, kind of playing around. And I'm like, do it. I don't care. You think I can take whatever you want. And he just kind of cinches it. And the next thing I know, I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
And I wake up and they're talking about whatever they're talking about. And I'm trying to figure out, I just lost time.
yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happening. And it's not like they were laughing about it. It's like, I got you. They're just like, oh.
They just moved on.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
up.
we
I'm
just
just
moved
like,
on. Justin,
He
Justin
literally
choked him
put
out.
me to sleep.
Justin choked
which
him out.
I gained a lot of respect for him in that moment. I'm being honest. That's what he did to his stepdad. I put him to sleep.
Choked him out.
All right, last one.
You got a revenge kit.
What?
Yeah, honestly, I do. I have to avenge that sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
yeah.
enough.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to melatonin Justin.
I got it. I
Yeah.
like it. I like
Yeah.
it. Melatonin.
All right, last one. Person in the family that would do the best in a political race for president. I'm not talking about that they win and
Just
they are
the-
the
just the
president.
best.
Who gets the furthest?
Your dad. I mean, you, honey, I think you would. And actually, I mean, you know, it's really possible that you could be city councilman now or, you know, mayor or, you know, I really
agree.
think so.
Would you say?
You've got that,
I agree.
you're so you're not judgmental on anything.
Yeah.
You know, and you love everybody so much that you see them in the way that God sees them. And I think, man, maybe you ought to start running because that's what we need right now. Somebody in this world that's going to be like that.
Here's my edge. Before we throw it to Tony. My edge is on a debate stage, they start throwing dirt and go, I got a podcast, already came out on that, bro. It's like there's no skeletons in the closet. Where are they going to go?
Facts.
I got nowhere to go.
Oh,
It's
I can think of
no,
some
you're right. I did that. As a matter of fact, and they make a good point. I'll say, that's a great point. You got me on that one.
Yeah.
Next. And it's like, we don't have politicians that would do that. And I think
agree.
the public would eat it up.
I agree.
All right. Last question, Tony. You've been sitting there.
All right.
What you got, bro?
When are you gonna run?
That's good. That's good. You're my campaign manager, bro. So you got anything?
I think I guess everything that we got out of it was just going through it. So what you're saying, like with the blended family and everything, the biggest thing was like keeping the communication with everybody alive.
Yeah.
So that way, nothing gets like, misinformation gets passed through and no one takes advantage of somebody else. So would you say like communication was the biggest key in that?
Huge.
Absolutely.
Huge.
I think that's part of growing up, but it's something that's changed my life, especially my relationships, is being willing to just deal with the conflict head on.
You're good at that.
You know, if we've got, sometimes I'm too good at it. Like if we have beef, whether you're my boy, whether you're a family member, whether you're my significant other, it's always so much healthier to say what I want to say and then listen and figure it out. I say everything I want to say, you say everything you want to say. Let's meet in the middle and squash this, right?
Yeah.
Because in the past, when I was young and dumb, so quick to cut people off, silence things, get mad over a stupid fight, and then be like, I don't care about you. We're done. I'm a shut my mouth until you talk to me and apologize, right? And that's how things like fester and boil, especially in families. Think about how many families are like, oh, my aunt, haven't talked to her since that one Thanksgiving when we got drunk and fought each other.
Yeah.
And then they go like 15 years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Life is way
So
too
it's
short for that.
communication,
And life is way too short for that for sure. Your dad used to be a big conflict avoider. You're not anymore
Not
at
at
all. You've really
ramped it up.
grown in that area.
Hang with all them
And I've
gangsters.
always been let's duke it out. Come on, let's
Totally.
fight. I
You
mean,
definitely are,
I
yeah,
will
you got
physically
it.
fight you. Okay. But yeah, me and you, we've never had a beef. Not that I'm aware of.
Don't tell
Anything.
squash it
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah. Not
So
that I'm
true.
aware of. I mean, I don't even think we've ever raised our voices at
No,
each other.
not at all.
I mean,
But if we do have a
yeah,
problem,
we're okay.
you just say it.
we figure it out and move forward.
out.
You
That's
know,
what I mean.
you know.
Squash it at the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
'Cause
You
if
you
let
have
it
to.
boil,
You have to.
Love
Yeah,
it.
it's just life is way too short for that.
Woo! Well, we covered some ground today. For those out there, here's what I hope is that we gave you some hope. And I guess my closing thought is, man, we need grace with one another. The kids, it's freaking hard to do this parenting thing. And it's getting even harder because of the access you have to things that you don't think you need us for wisdom, or information or guidance. And so, try to understand, put yourself in the place of a parent if you can, which is hard for a young mind. But to the grown folks, man, this is an art and a science. And this is the way we've managed to get our way through it, but it's not the only way, is we just keep trying and being honest. And so there's hope. And like Cole said, man, these kids, I mean, I know it's a scary time, but you know what? The kids are turning out okay. Pick the right battles, win the battles that you pick, but also try to put yourself in the shoes of a 15-year-old in this TikTok world where the world's coming apart and there's a whole lot of anxiety and depression on both sides.
Absolutely.
Parents are facing so many different things and now, but I also think that we've always faced those things. Drugs have always been around. I mean, drugs were around in the 60s, they were around in the 50s. If a child chooses to do that, then that's their choice. They're going to do it.
Yeah.
If a child decides that they are not the sex that they want to be, that's an extremely hard thing for a parent. And I've gone through that. I mean, we've gone through that. But we, in the end, it's all love. I mean, there is no shame. There is nothing but love for our child that went through that. A parent that disowns their child because of that, shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame. I mean, truly, shame on you, because even though it's hard, that child needs your support more than ever.
The love is
and
like
the love.
deeper than that.
Yeah,
right?
the love has to be deeper than your anger. The love has to be deeper than your shame. And I don't know a single person that's been on their deathbed that has said, "Oh my gosh, I regret not buying that vet," right? Oh my gosh, I regret not buying that $600,000 house.
Yeah.
No, the regrets are I ruined my relationship with my mother, or with my father, or with my child,
Yeah,
or whatever.
totally.
It is not the material things. So love, and you can discipline with love.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess my closing statement is to speak from the kid's perspective, because I think it's hard to be a kid too and deal with parents and step parents and blended families. It's all of it's complicated and complex, right? Those are the two same words. But it's like, I think that it's important for kids to try to understand and be empathetic towards the fact that parenting is probably the hardest thing that you're going to go through in life. Obviously, when you're a dumb young teenager, you're not going to get that. But as soon as I got into my mid-20s and pictured myself in y'all's place having a kid, I'd have no clue what I'm doing in this world. To raise a kid, right? It's a different kind of empathy and understanding. I know why you made the decisions that you did. It was insane. I don't have kids, right? I barely can take care of myself.
Yeah.
So there's people that like have bad relationships with their parents and have all this resentment and anger and feel like a victim, right? Well, my parents didn't do the right job. And it's like you grow up and you're like, they did the best job that they could. What else were they going to do?
And then
all we can do is try. We're going to fail over time.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, we make mistakes. We make mistakes. We say things that we regret. But we have to ask for forgiveness from our child too. Totally. It's not just you asking your child for forgiveness.
Yeah.
We need that forgiveness. We need that grace as well, because it's hard.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we love y'all to death. There is nothing in this world that y'all could ever do that's going to stop us from loving y'all and stop us from supporting y'all and stop us from, our doors being open. There's absolutely nothing.
There you go.
So,
man, this is good stuff. You've been seeing it throughout the whole podcast, little things, popping up. Subscribe. I mean, really, if you love this, share it. There's people out there that need this conversation because they're in the middle of what we're talking about. Like it, pump it out there, man. We're going to keep coming from a very real place. So today, when you're out there, put yourself in the place of the other, man. Try to find some compassion in this crazy world. Love you. Let's keep doing our thing. And then we are the
power of peace.